Hello everyone, Jonathan here, and for this video we are going to take a look at the newest member of the Axis and Allies family, that is Axis and Allies Zombies. So I know in the community there are a lot of mixed feelings about this game. This video isn't to really talk about those, talk about whether it is respectful. Certainly, this is not a historically accurate rendition. I don't think anyone would argue about that. And that's definitely not a claim that I would attempt to make. I enjoy history myself. So from a strictly historical perspective, of course, it's ridiculous. I picked up this game more thinking that it might be fun for like a themed get-together, maybe like a Halloween party or something around Halloween time, just to kind of get the theme of the holiday mixed in. Of course, this game is going to have different rules, and we're going to be going over those briefly in this video. And I've given a little bit of thought to would it be possible to alter the game, basically alter the skin of the game, so to speak, and instead of calling them zombies, call them like hyper-partisan nationalists or something like that just kind of pop up, or they join one side or the other. I haven't thought enough about that to come with something that could work in a historical context. My thinking is that if you took a few liberties with it, you probably could come up with something. But this game calls them zombies, so in any case, let's take a look at Axis and Allies Zombies. So you'll see that actually that I have a larger board behind this one. That is Axis and Allies 1942 second edition. I wanted to give an idea of the size comparison between these boards. Now, Zombies is ever so slightly bigger than 1941. You'll remember that as a particularly small map. 1941 is maybe a centimeter, maybe half a centimeter shorter in width. Let's see if we can see under that. That's 41 down there. It is the same height, so it is ever so slightly smaller, 41, than Zombies. They're essentially the same size, or extremely close. So, aside from the theme, of course, you can see the board looks a little bit different, and on our setup cards, we've got little, splotches of blood. There's a big one on United Kingdom, and then the money is splotched a little bit as well. What else is different? So there are a few things that the book calls out, and I think that my first few games, I probably will play regular rules so as not to have to learn a series of changes. And the rule book actually says, hey, if you want to do that, that's totally fine. But it does give some alternate rules for you to play with, just in terms of regular game mechanics. So I'm going to go through those really quickly here. So there is no purchase units phase at the end of your turn. You buy your units and immediately place them. You can't land your fighters on Allies' aircraft carriers or transport your land unit on their transports. I'm not really sure. Maybe that was just meant to simplify the game. Unless there's an issue with balancing, I think that's a rule I probably would disregard, because you can do that in most other games. The game has what are called recruitment centers, which are like industrial complexes, but they can only produce infantry. So let's come in on a couple of them. In India, you've got that symbol there, and then China has one as well. But if you come down to Australia, you have a regular factory. And then, of course, over here in Asia, we have a bunch of factories. You can't really see the one under Great Britain too well, but of course Italy and Germany, you can kind of see one, and then Russia's got some over there where you can produce whatever you want. There's no industrial bombing in this game, and there's no anti-aircraft guns, cruisers, or mechanized infantry. Now, one item that I think that I would include when I play is that the straits the Dardanelles here by Turkey are closed. Now, the reason for that, or the reason that I would keep that rule, is there are certain so you can go into neutral countries, but there are certain things that can happen that can cause neutral countries such as Turkey to become zombie controlled, and at that point they're no longer neutral, and you can invade them. So I think that adds a certain strategic element, like it's closed for part of the game, but then you might do certain things to try and infest it or prevent it from being infested, depending on what you happen to want. I think that adds a nice element. So I probably would keep that rule. You'll see that the neutrals do have production values. Turkey's got 2. I mean, Spain over here has got 2. So they are worth some production if they become zombie controlled and then you take them over. Now, where do the zombies actually come in? It's called Axis and Allies zombies, of course. There are going to be zombies in here somewhere. So the basic idea, I think I've got this down, kind of goes like this. So on the first player's turn, so that's going to be the Soviet Union, they are going to draw a zombie card. We have a zombie deck over here. I've got a couple cards laid out of things that can happen that basically tell you the zombie, some sort of a zombie event takes place. And so we'll zoom in here a little bit. So this one, if my phone will come into focus here, it doesn't seem to want to. Okay, well I'll just read it to you. I'll move over here so you guys can see the map a little bit more. So that first card basically just says add a zombie to Australia. Pretty straightforward. Now there's an additional option on these cards that you can play with, but you don't have to, where you get some sort of a benefit. So you get the zombie for that card, and the benefit is roll a die and gain the technology indicated on the technology chart. So some sort of anti-zombie technology. If you already had that technology, you re-roll. The next one, add a zombie to Borneo. Okay, that part's about the same. But the benefit, if you play with that, says choose a zombie-occupied territory, move half of the zombies in that territory, rounded up, into an adjacent territory. So you could move them from, maybe they're in Turkey, maybe you're Germany, they're in Turkey, and you move them to Caucasus. Or if you're Russia, maybe you move them over into the Balkans. Now then there's another card, kind of a bonus sort of card, that's called Zombies Rise. When you draw that, it says draw and play 2 additional zombie cards. After all cards have been played this turn, shuffle the discard pile into the deck. So you have certain cards that are just regular and certain that actually cause additional zombie cards to be played. So that's how that's one way you get zombies on the board. Another way, not to skip around too much, anytime an infantry dies in combat, you resolve that combat all the way through, but then once both sides are finished fighting, then all of the dead infantry are replaced with zombies. So that's just a little aside. So on each person's turn, we've got the zombie cards. You draw 1 unless your card tells you to do something else. Then zombies attack. So for any territory that you control, so if I'm the Soviet Union, it's any territory that the Soviets control that have zombies in them, the zombies get to attack. And so the zombies are going to roll these special zombie dice down here. For every D that is showing, that is a hit that they score. So there's 1 round of combat. Anything other than a D, so there are A's and there are also blanks, are misses. So I took a look at these, and on the 6-sided die, 1 side is a D, 2 sides are A's, and the rest are blanks. So you've got a 1 in 6 chance of the zombies hitting. But they just get the 1 round of combat. Then you take the rest of your turn like normal. You do your combat moves, you do your rolling, you do your non-combat, and then you purchase and place your units. Now, one thing about combat, let's say you're attacking a territory, that has both enemies and zombies in it. In fact, let's come over here, because we've been talking about Germany and the Soviet Union quite a bit for our examples. Let's say that Japan is going to attack the United States here, and there are zombies here. Well, first, Japan has to clear out all of the American troops there. Then it can decide whether it wants to just stop, or if it wants to attack the zombies a little bit. And let me see. I believe I have misplaced where that is. I believe that there is a rule when you move into a territory with zombies, the zombies get to attack. Oh, here we go. I found it. I'm looking at the rule book here off to the side. So, at the beginning of combat, anytime that there's a land battle where there are zombies present, for each zombie unit, the defender rolls a zombie die. For each result of the A, the attacker loses a unit or takes a hit. For each D, the defender takes a hit. So both attackers and defenders can take hits in these situations. The attacker is probably going to suffer more because two sides of that six-sided die are attacker hits, or hits against the attacker. Only one is the defender. But both sides can take hits. Zombies cannot hit air units, so that isn't an issue. Then after that, sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself. So after that, then you do the regular land attacking that you normally would do, and then the attacker can decide if he wants to keep attacking the zombies. So that's the general idea. It seems an interesting game. The board is more simplified, certainly, than Global 40, and Anniversary, and even 1942. I haven't done a one-to-one comparison against 1941. The shading of the map, the style of the map is a little bit different. I haven't looked that closely to see if all the territories are the same. But the setup is pretty close to what you would expect. I mean, England's got some navy, Germany's got some subs, the US has a small navy over there, fighter, bomber, so forth. England's got some navy there, Germany's got navy down by Italy. There is no destroyer or cruiser over here. China is 3 territories. They kind of simplified or changed the names of the coastal territories here. I'm not sure what the reason was for it, but now this is just Southeast Asia, and this is coastal China. That's still Manchuria up there. That seems like a little oversimplification, but I know clearly they were not going for historical accuracy, so maybe they just figured, let's make it even more simple. And that's okay. I mean, it's their game to decide what they want to do with. Oh, a couple other things really quick. Tanks are back to their cost of 5. We'll see if my phone... I don't know why my phone is having such a difficult time focusing. Well, in any case, tanks cost 5 now. They're back to that. Our starting production is less than you might be used to. Soviet Union 14, Japan 15, England 22, Germany 23, United States all the way over here at 32. So the Allies do have a significant economic advantage. I'll have to see after a few playthroughs how big of a role that plays. I know Germany has a lot of tanks over here that it can use to try and beat down on Russia. So I'll have to play it a few times and see how balanced it appears to be, if that economic advantage seems unfair or it seems well placed. So that is kind of a quick overview of this game. I hope that you all enjoyed it. I'm sure there are things in the book that I did not mention or that I forgot about, or maybe I didn't get quite right. But after looking over it a little bit and taking a look at the map, those are my early impressions. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have played this game before, please put a comment down there in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you think of it and what you think in terms of balance, what interesting situations you found yourself in. did you lose to the zombies? Because there is a result where the zombies can actually win. Neither the Axis nor the Allies are victorious. So I would love to hear any stories you guys have, and thank you for tuning into this video. I appreciate it.